What is up, guys? Christopher from Crisis Point, and welcome back to the channel. And today we'll be taking a look at the Redmi Note 13. Now, the whole concept of this video is mainly because the Redmi 13C video that I did kind of blew up, and I've been pondering on what can you actually get if you were to add an additional 5,000 pesos to the value of the Redmi 13C. That leads us to the Redmi Note 13. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you my initial impressions, unboxing, review, gaming, all that stuff. And of course, as always, since this is not sponsored by Xiaomi or any agency, it's time to get brutal. And with that said, let's do this. Alright, so this is the Redmi Note 13. This was actually purchased in a Xiaomi store located in Araneta City for approximately 9,000 to 10,000 pesos, give or take. This is the Midnight Black Edition with 8256 combination, and we're going to start this off with the unboxing. Now, for the remainder of this video, I'm going to post the original SRP of the Redmi 13C on the upper left corner of this video, as well as the SRP for the Redmi Note 13. So at least you guys, while watching this video, will have an idea on what you can actually get if you were to add the extra 5,000 bucks, give or take. Inside we have a welcome packet that contains the SIM ejector pin, the user guide and manual, and a complimentary jelly case, which was not seen on the Redmi 13C. And it's a different type of case because it's not that cheap translucent jelly case that you normally get. We now have a silicone type that feels a lot better in the hands, if I can say so myself. We also have a 33 watt fast charger in the box, and of course a Type-C to Type-A charging cable. So here we have the Redmi Note 13 with some key specifications or features on what you'd get for the price. Now, just a disclaimer, this isn't the first unboxing. I've already done this. I just placed everything back in the box for dramatic effect. But essentially, this is what you'll get once you unbox the Redmi Note 13. And in my honest opinion, the design language of the Redmi Note 13 is basically the same as the Redmi 13C, just less on the carbon feel, more on the glossy finish. It is quite the fingerprint magnet, but essentially in terms of the actual build and feel of the device in hand, it feels actually great. I still prefer the design of the Redmi 13C. I would have wished to have that design with the Redmi Note 13, but that's what we have here. So now we have the Redmi Note 13 powered up. This is rocking a 6.67 inch AMOLED display. It comes with 120Hz refresh rate that can go up to 1800 nits peak brightness, which comes with a 1080p resolution covered in Corning Gorilla Glass 3. On paper, it doesn't actually sound that impressive, but for the price of what you're paying for, this is actually a very good combination. One thing I'd like to stress out with the high refresh rate, unlike the Redmi 13C, where the high refresh rate was just visible in the app drawer, on the Redmi Note 13, regardless of what I'm doing, if I'm going to be switching from different applications or using applications, be it social media or gaming, the high refresh rate is quite noticeable, which is actually a good thing because it's not that misleading feature anymore. It's an actual thing now. Of course, you do have the option to tone it down to 60 Hz. I know for a fact that there are still a lot of people who uses the 60 Hz setting as opposed to the 120 Hz, especially those who are coming from an iPhone. Then 60 Hz will be available for you. Not to mention that it also saves battery, but if you want to have that smooth, buttery experience, then 120 Hz all throughout would be the way to go. Another plus factor with the Redmi Note 13 would be the storage. This comes with 256GB of storage. I believe there is a 128 variant. There's also a much bigger storage configuration depending on where you buy this. The good thing about this device is that it is expandable via microSD, which has a dedicated card slot if you prefer to extend it further. But for me personally, 256GB is more than enough. Now, one thing that boggles me with this device is the OS. So we all know that for the past few months or years, Xiaomi has always released a new smartphone that came with MIUI. And with the hype of Hyper OS that was introduced not too long ago, being the efficient and powerful and smooth whatever operating system, it doesn't actually feel as hyper as you'd want it to be. As much as I'd like to think that the experience I'm getting with the Redmi Note 13 is all that great, it's not. It's really just MIUI with a different branding. The camera performance on the Redmi Note 13 is probably one of the 50-50 or on-off type of situations for this particular device, simply because the 108 megapixel lens on this device performs great. So when you're taking photos, it's fine. But as far as having to shoot videos, however, this is where it becomes a bit of a miss for me, as this can only go up to 1080p at 30 FPS. For me personally, it's just sad, considering that the Redmi Note series that I've reviewed previously, every single one of them performed exceptionally well in the camera department, but it just falls flat for the Redmi Note 13 in terms of video recording. On a side note, the display on the Redmi Note 13 is something I would actually rank as the okay category. I wouldn't say it's the best, but you do get to have the ability to enjoy 1080p full HD content when you're browsing or streaming videos and whatnot. It is a bit of a bummer that I'm only able to view content on YouTube at 1080p maximum, but I think this is dependent on the actual content that was uploaded on the channel. But again, on the flip side, at least you get to enjoy 1080p full HD content on the fly. There is, however, one thing I'd like to mention in terms of the Redmi Note 13's display. I'm not 100% sure if this is because of the pre-installed screen protector, but having to tilt the device to a certain angle, you can actually see a bit of a rainbow color shift going on. It doesn't really affect you in terms of viewing, but I just wanted to point that out. Now, as far as gaming is concerned, this is probably where the Redmi Note 13 shines the most. So this is rocking a Snapdragon 685 processor paired with the Adreno 610 GPU along with 8GB of RAM. This of course is not by any means a new chip. As a matter of fact, this was first released with the Redmi Note 12 last year. And despite being a year old, it still performs just like a dream, like any other smartphone released in this price range. During my testing, I did play a few games, but mostly it was just with Call of Duty Mobile, and for the most part it did perform great. It is actually quite rare for me to encounter an entry-level device that can give you a very smooth gameplay on Call of Duty Mobile. Same goes with Farlight 84, which is also a very demanding FPS game which did run relatively well on the Redmi Note 13. Although there are some titles on the Play Store that it did struggle a bit, but for the most part, the Redmi Note 13 can give you a very enjoyable gaming experience. So the big question is the Redmi Note 13 worth your hard-earned money? From a consumer standpoint, practically speaking, in 2024, there are certain aspects of this device that felt a bit off, and of course, some of which are also a pro. The biggest off factor for the Redmi Note 13, in my honest opinion, is the fact that this is only a 4G capable device, meaning you can only get up to LTE connectivity. No 5G. It has Bluetooth 5.1, which is not the latest, but at least you get to have that level of stability when connecting wireless earbuds. It also comes with a 5000 mAh battery that also supports 33 watt fast charging, an IR blaster, which is a staple for Xiaomi devices, an acceptable IP54 dust and splash resistance, and stereo speakers for you to enjoy content for listening to music in Spotify or watching videos on YouTube, Netflix, and what have you. Despite some of the cons that I found when using the Redmi Note 13, I still think that for the price of having to add extra $5,000 from the value that I spent for the Redmi 13C, the value proposition of the Redmi Note 13 is indeed a good buy. This would have been the perfect entry-level smartphone for me personally if this came with 5G connectivity. In any case, that's pretty much it for my review video of the Redmi Note 13 4G. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or inquiries. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Consider subscribing to the channel for more tech reviews and unboxing videos. If by any chance this device tickles your fancy, I'll drop the links in the description down below. Again, thanks again for watching. This is Chris once again from Crisis Point, and I'll catch you in the next.